I'm back with another story. So the story is a little bit chaotic, and I honestly I don't know why I'm like posting these stories. Like, these are probably gonna keep me from ever being able to get a professional job, but disclaimer, I was 15, 16 in these. My frontal lobe was not fully developed. Okay, so this was around the same time that I was plugging in school. Like, any possible psychedelic I could get my hands on, I wanted to try it. And it really, this is probably gonna sound so pretentious, but it wasn't because like I just wanted to get fucked up, but like I was truly fascinated with consciousness and what these things can do to you. And I was really fascinated with DMT, and I knew that like no matter what, I couldn't like just find it around me, so I took it upon myself to figure out how to make it. The internet was such a beautiful place. It was very unregulated. I don't know, the site is probably still up if somebody has a link for it, but there was a quick Google search and I found out exactly how to make it. I write down my list of what I need to do. I go on the search for what I need. I need Mimosa hostilis root bark. That was the chosen plant that I was going to use. And it was easy to pass off because it can be used as a clothing dye. I think it's like it makes like a purple type of color. But back then it was sold on eBay, which was honestly so amazing. Like, I cannot, like, for the life of me find it anymore for dye purposes. It came directly from Mexico, was beautiful. That eventually came in, and I still needed some other things. Like, I needed a form of paint thinner, and I needed and I also needed lye and a bunch of, you know, like, other things. I was like actively, you know, like getting together my ingredients, planning for this to happen, and one day I go into my chemistry class and I see exactly what I need on the counter, just like unattended. It was a industrial grade bottle of lye, maybe like this big. And if you don't know, lye is extremely dangerous. So yeah, if you touch it, it like literally eats your skin, like it burns so bad. And I was comfortable with using it because when I was a kid, I learned how to make soap, and soap has lye in it. I remember as soon as I stole the bottle of lye, I went and I asked my teacher if I could borrow the scale, which she should be like, why do you need a scale? Like, you know, because most likely thing is that I'm gonna be like weighing like grams and shit out. But no, she let me borrow it, and she was like, okay, just bring it back. So like now I have like a perfect scale to weigh out all of my ingredients, make sure everything is perfect. I also took like multiple beakers and like pipes and like just like different like sciencey things that like I would need for the process. And on top of it, like, this teacher like did not give a shit. Like, we would be like vaping literally in front of her, and she just like would walk away. She would just pretend like she didn't see it. She was before like a teacher at a very renowned college, and so she was just kind of like at that time where like she just didn't give a shit. And I'm genuinely just sure that she did not even notice those things gone, that she didn't care. So like honestly, like, no harm done. It wasn't like that I was like stealing some important shit. But I went home with all of those things, and I started like, you know, doing the whole process. And so, to be clear, when you end up with the finished product, you're not smoking like the lye and like the paint thinner shit that like you put into it. By the time that like the whole process is done, those things are completely separated by layers. Like, there is pretty much like no remnants of those things unless you literally pour like the really bad toxic part into, you know, what you end up synthesizing. It doesn't really smell like anything. It smells like, people have said, like burning mothballs or whatever. But yeah, so I ended up hitting it, and people say like, oh, it's like the most painful thing ever, but it's like, girl, like, I would be hitting like 5 carts at once at school, so like this was really nothing. So like that first batch I made, I definitely picked up some of like the impurities, like the really bad stuff, which is like, hey, beginner's mistake. But I might have smoked a little bit of lye. The first time that I ever did DMT, I was in my room with my friends. They were just like there to like trip sit, or like we were all just like testing it, like see what happens. Well, for the people who have done acid, like you go into it expecting like, oh, you're gonna see all this crazy stuff, you're gonna see, you know, whatever, but when you do it, you kind of don't, but like when I did DMT, I was literally seeing things that did not exist. It also is a lot more technical looking, kind of like Minecraft. I feel like mushrooms are more very natural feeling, acid is more like in between, and then DMT is like the fully like technological machinery part of existence. Yeah, but yeah, I was seeing just like rainbows and like crazy stuff, and like I didn't break through because like I was not relaxed enough, because the people that I were with were being like low-key annoying. Okay, but anyway, so since we're talking about DMT, I'm just gonna talk about like the times like that I actually did break through and that I did like experience something meaningful and completely like not in this realm of existence. So I was with my friend in their garage, and I had one of them do everything for me. Of course, you're seeing like the most like magical, like things that you can't even comprehend type imagery, but I ended up going to a room that was like pink and yellow stripes. Like there was nothing physical but the stripes to make out what was going on. If there was like a couch, the stripes would kind of wrap around it so you could see that there's like a couch or a table or something. Very weird vision. But anyway, so I wound up in this room, and all of a sudden I felt entities come in. And that's another thing is that was very interesting, is that you can feel when a presence comes in like before you even see them. A couple people came in, and then I think like 5 or 6 people came in. I saw them walk through a door, but of course I couldn't see their faces. It was only just the pink and yellow stripes that were outlined over them. And we were standing around a table, and I just remember that like I recognized them as family, and that we were all family, and we had an amazing conversation for the time that I was there. I felt so at home. Like I've never felt more at home somewhere than I did there. I started to come back, and I just remember they said to me like, oh, your time's up, like you're gonna leave. And I said, like, my video like totally just cut out. They were telling me like, oh, like it's time for you to leave, and I was just so like, no, like I don't want to leave, like this is so nice, like I'm so happy with all of you. And they just said like, oh well, we'll see each other again, like this is like no big deal, you know, like we'll just like have another visit. And so I was like convinced by this, and so when I came back, I just immediately was like, I need to go back. Like I was frantic, like please like send me back. So I end up going again, and so I break through. But this time I wind up somewhere different. I'm in like a totally black room with like these orbs like that are in the floor and in the ceiling. So they were like half spheres. They were like embedded, and they like glowed different colors. So there was like, it looked kind of like confetti or something, but I could tell that the room I was in was vast. It went out into infinity because the balls went all the way down. Like I could see just like so far. It was really beautiful, but I was really confused. I was just like, where am I? And all of a sudden I felt a presence come in, and then I felt more and then more, and it was so overwhelming. I was like, oh my god, like I'm scared, like who are all these people? And then I look, and it's literally a bunch of jesters. Like they were like fully decorated. Like they had the bell caps and like the poofy sleeves and shoulders, and like they had like the triangle things with bells on it like around the collar. But they were so like, they were beautiful, like their costumes and everything, but they came in with just such an energy of like, we're gonna fuck with this person. They instantly like locked in on me, and they decided that they were gonna like mess with me. So they instantly circle around me, and then they like tighten. So like they come in really close to me, and then they start to pinball me. And I don't know if you guys know what pinballing is, but it's when a group of people get really tight around one person, and then they shove the person as hard as they can, like in that whole ring. And because you're so tight, like you can't, like the person doesn't fall over, they're just getting like shoved back and forth. They were doing that to me, and I could feel like myself rolling on them. I could feel like the bells and like the embroidered fabric like on my skin, like just the roughness of it, and I could hear it like each like time I thudded against like one of like their chests or their arms or something. It was incredibly realistic. Like they were as solid as like somebody sitting next to you. And yeah, I just remember they just would not stop, and I was like, guys, like please, like I'm getting sick. Like I was laughing with them too. I thought it was like funny, but they did not stop like once I started getting sick. And then I started to see a visual like block them out. It looked like molded cheese or like molded Swiss cheese, but it looked like very like painterly. It was not realistic. But I just got so sick and nauseous. Like they backed up and they let me fall on the floor, and I started to throw up. But at the same time, I flicked to reality here, and I told my friend, I was like, I need a trash can. So I had like a foot here and a foot in some other place, because like I was literally in two places at once where my consciousness was streaming, and I was aware of being on the floor and the gestures around me throwing up, and I was aware of current reality. My friend brought me a trash can. At the same time, I'm still throwing up on the floor in this like jester land, and I can hear them laughing so hard. They're just like, they're dying, they're cackling like at me. As I make my final flicker back to this one, I'm still throwing up in the trash can, but I can still hear all of them laughing. And it wasn't even like a laughing track. It was very much like these people were laughing in my ears. Like you can like hear like the vocal cords and them as if they're like standing right around you. So yeah, that was pretty much my experience with DMT. I mean, I have like so many more stories, but yeah, honestly, like be safe out there. Like don't be stupid like I was. Like at least like I'm here that I can just tell you like what I went through, instead of like you going through like that whole process yourself. I guess that's the story of how I stole chemistry supplies from my teacher to make DMT when I was 16 years old. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope that you guys enjoy. And I hope that if this is a future employer watching this, no, you did not watch this. And just know like that I'm clean. Like none of this is me anymore. This was almost, let me think. This was more than half a decade ago. So anyway, peace out. Yeah. Bye.